Hoş geldiniz. Bugün MLADENOV'la düzenlemiş olduğumuz Conceptualizing Metaphors genel başlığı altındaki seminerler serisinin 4. günündeyiz. 4. günün sabahında ilk seminer olarak yine Profesör MLADENOV Method of Conceptualizing konusunda, yani kavramsallaştırma metodu nasıl Peirce'e göre bu konuda seminerini verecek. Tabii bu kavramsallaştırma ayrı bir öneme haiz, metot ayrı bir öneme haiz. İlim metot gerektirir. Metotsuz bilim olmaz. Biz metodik olmak zorundayız. Her bilimin öncelikle malzemesini inceleyecek bir metodunun olması gerekiyor. Bir de bu metoda göre terminolojisinin olması gerekiyor. Bir de malzemesinin olması gerekiyor. Yani bir ilimin ilim olarak kurulması için temel 3 şart. Evet, herkes kendi alanında, kendi disiplininin metotlarını öğreniyor. Ama metodunu nasıl öğreneceğiz? Kavramın nasıl yapacağız? Nasıl üreteceğiz? Çünkü sosyal bilimlerde üretim, kavram üretimi ilgili. Bunu nasıl üreteceğiz? Ben bugüne kadar bununla ilgili hiçbir yerde, hiçbir bilgiye rastlamamıştım açıkçası. Yani ilk defa Sayın MLADENOV'tan bunu Peirce'ün düşüncelerinden hareketle, onun ifadesi de Peirce'ün marjinlerinden hareketle dinleyeceğiz. Bu tabii marjin kelimesi üzerinde durmak istiyorum. Marj, bu eski divanlarda, eski eserlerde veya yeni eserlerde fark etmiyor. Hani normal kitabın dizgisi var. O dizgisinin dışında yanlara, kenarlara düşülen notlar, yazılan yazılar demek. Eskiler buna derkenar diyorlardı. Aydın onu başka bir şekilde çevirmişti. Ne diye çevirmiştin Aydın? He?
Düstur.
Düstur. Yok,
Ben maksimeyi çevirdim.
Margin'den söz ediyoruz. Kenar notları diye çevirmişti. Kenar notları diye çevirmişti. Tabii kenar notları evet olabilir belki ama tabii ben bir zamanlar bu Dergah dergisini takip ediyordum. Dergah dergisinde Derkenar diye bir köşe vardı. O köşede çok güzel yazılar yazılırdı kitaplar hakkında. Ben o yazıları okurdum. Sonra o Derkenar'ın ne olduğunu öğrendim. İşte o derkenar eski el yazma kitaplarda el yazma metnin yazıldığı yerin dışında o el yazmayı okuyan, örneğin 100 sene sonra birisi okudu. Aklına bir fikir geliyor. Onunla yazarken işte bir kavram geliyor. Onunla ilişkiler kuruyor. Oraya bir not düşüyor. İşte onlara derkenar derlerdi. MLADENOV da muhtemelen o Peirce margins derken onu kastetmiş. Kendisi tabii 30-40 yıl boyunca Peirce okumuş. Peirce anlatmış. Bu tabii Peirce'ü anladım demiyor. Ben kenarlarını okudum. Oradan bir şeyler anlattım diyor. O mütevazı yönüyle. Çünkü batılı alimler hep tevazu içerisinde davranıyorlar. Yani bunların özelliği bu. Bizim gibi küçük dağları ben yarattım havasında, ben her şeyi bilirim havasında, sen kimsin havasında değiller. Yani bunlara böyle bir ilmi terbiye var. Bu ilmi terbiye bize gelir mi gelmez mi? Ben pek umutsuzum çünkü bakıyorum yani. Adamlar ünvanı alandan korkuyorum artık, kaçıyorum yani. Öyle bir şey yapıyorum. Çünkü insanlar ünvanların arkasına saklanıyorlar. O ünvanlarıyla alttakileri dövüyorlar. Üsttekilere sen kimsin, sen zaten bunu bilmiyorsun falan havasına giriyorlar. Ünvanlarıyla kendilerine bir kimlik, kişilik, aidiyet buluyorlar. Hatta çarşıda, pazarda bile ben profesör bilmem kim diyen tipler var. Onları da gördük, tanıdık. Yani
Emekli olunca ne oluyor hocam?
emekli olunca da aynı şekilde. Yani onların profesörlükleri hiçbir zaman yok olmuyor. Yani gidiyor, devam ediyor. Yani tabii ünvanlar şeydir yani bunlar arazi adlandırmalardır. Gelip geçicidir. Ben 10 yıldır fakülte dışında 15 yıldır neredeyse ünvan kullanmıyorum. Hatta meslek yüksek okulundayken orada müdürüm işte meslek yüksek okulunda bir tane arkadaş doçent oldu orada. Adam geldi bana bir konuyu anlatacak, bir konu hakkında benimle konuşacak. Yarım saat oturdu odamda. Yarım saatte tabii kafam çatladı. perişan oldum. Yarım saatte en az 5 defa ben doçentim diye bana hatırlattı. Tabii 5 defa ben doçentim, ben doçentim, ben doçentim. O profesör olanlar, ben profesörüm, sen ne biçim konuşuyorsun? Daha burada tanıyoruz beraber işte. Ben profesörüm, ben doçentim, ben doçentim. Bunlardan ben çok çektim. Yani adama en son dedim ki, bak dedim, siz dedim yeni doçent oldunuz dedim. Ben dedim 5 yıl doçent olarak, 6 yıl doçent olarak çalıştım. 6 yılda 6 defa insanlara ben doçentim demedim dedim. Hatırlamıyorum dediğimi dedim. Bakın dedim, her fırsatta vurguluyorsunuz dedim. Merak etmeyin, sizin doçent olduğunuza dair yazı geldi ve sizi ben atadım ve ben imzaladım dedim. Biliyorum sizin doçent olduğunuzu dedim. Yani böyle bir şey var tabii. Ama Batılılar öyle değil. Batılılar mütevazı. Ben gerçek hocaların ne olduğunu bu Batılı hocaları tanıdıktan sonra biraz anladım. Anladım. Hocaların nasıl öğrencilere yardımcı olduklarını. Efendim?
İvan Hoca bizim beynimizde profesör olmuş.
Profesör tabii. Yani akademik diyorlar onlar. Özellikle Rus geleneğinde. Akademik diyorlar. Profesör, emeritus profesör. Yani akademik profesör. Bir de onlar yani bizde böyle hani örneğin Fen Edebiyat Fakültesi'nde, Necati Bey Eğitim Fakültesi'nde, Fen Edebiyat Fakültesi'nde 100'den fazla, Necati Bey Eğitim Fakültesi'nde belki 50-60 tane profesör var. Bizimkilerle onlar farklı. Bunlar araştırmacı profesör. Yani bunlar sırf araştırma yapıyorlar ve yüksek lisans ve doktor öğrencisi yetiştiriyorlar. Lisans dersleri pek vermiyorlar. Yani lisans dersleri verenler farklı. Biz hem lisans dersleri vermeye çalışıyoruz hem araştırmacılık yapmaya çalışıyoruz. Ünvanı bizde çok mekanik hale geldi. O belli şeyleri yakalayan, işte belli sayıyı yakalayan, yani niceliği yakalayan o ünvanı alıyor artık. Dolayısıyla ünvanın değeri düşüyor. Yani insanlar da o ünvanın arkasına saklanıyor. Neyse, konuyu daha fazla uzatmayayım. Şimdi Sayın MLADENOV hocayı konuşmasını yapmak üzere kürsüye davet edeyim. Please, MLADENOV,
Oh,
I
okay.
will invite you.
But you can
I am
continue.
sorry, I speak very long.
That's okay. It's so nice to hear someone else, not
We
me.
speak to Turkey academic problem. Please.
Okay, thank you. No, okay. No, that's okay. Well, thank you to those of you who are still coming. You're the most loyal listeners. And I can assure you, at least you who are here, that at the end of these seminars, tomorrow, for example, you will have the very rare chance to go into semiotics and into Peirce studies alone. You can continue. What we are doing here are to give you the essential knowledge without which you couldn't. It will be like a riddle which you cannot guess. However, now after you have heard this very intensive course, I didn't even believe that I can make it. It asked me a lot of efforts to do it, a lot of physical efforts even. You will be able to approach Peirce's philosophy alone. I know how difficult also for you is, because I realize that there is not philosophers among you as a background. You don't have this background philosophy example. Still, you have academic background, and I realized you are done. Hi, you are a linguist. You are a linguist. At least you know about Saussure. So today, not now, but in the afternoon session, we will speak about Charles Peirce and Saussure and where their ideas are coming from in the Middle Ages and in the Antique. I hope it will be finally interesting for you.
It was always interesting.
Hmm?
It was always interesting hocam.
What?
It was always interesting.
Why are you talking like this? How can I listen to what you are saying? Okay, so today, for those of you who are so regular and loyal to this course, I'm going to show you the basic readings, how to find the basic readings. And Tuna is going to help me because I explained to him, why is this one here? You can find Charles Peirce's collected papers. Remember, I taught you how to refer to them, CP. First, you have searched for a disc called Past Masters, Charles Sanders Peirce. It's very difficult to find. It's difficult, but not impossible. So this is in one disc, all 8 volumes here. Oh. I don't have place here to go with the cursor. However, the way we search is like this. Query. It opens here, and for example, I put the name, the idea, apply to all, and it goes immediately to the place where Peirce used this word. It's very useful thing. So these are the 8-volume edition, first 8-volume edition of collected papers of Charles Peirce. They are still in use. If you like to become Peirce's, to go into Peirce's readings, this is a very good source. But this is if you want to become a Peircean scholar, to be a real good Peircean scholar. It will be enough if you have found, if you go to, let's say, something which is called, which is not like this, but it is called the essential, essential Peirce. Let me see. For example, numbers 2. Essential Peirce. They are just 2 volumes, and they are new. This is volume number 2, and there is one, which is number 1, of course. With these 2 volumes, you may reach a good level of Peirce. If you want to quote Peirce and produce an article on some issues in Peirce, you have to go to collected papers. And now, if you want to be a real good Peircean, you better go to Writings, the newest edition of Charles Peirce, Writings of Charles Peirce, newest edition. These are also 8 volumes, unfinished. These are new. They started in relatively new, 1882, the first volume. And they go on 8 volumes. They were initially planned, I told you this, to appear in 30 volumes. But because Peirce is always a loser, it didn't happen. So these are the main sources of Peirce's knowledge, if you want to know it. Now, every time we start the next day, you know that we proceed like this. We made a short resume of what we have already done. Usually, you are doing these resumes, and this is very useful to you, for you. However, today I'm going to do it, the first session, and in the second session, if the rector comes, you will. I planned that you will make these resumes. Today, we will make an overview of what we have done yesterday. Yesterday, I told you what it is conceptualizing. Conceptualizing as a method. You have to remember that being a method and not a whole philosophy, you can use it everywhere in all your work, in your field work. Like if you're a linguist, you can use it, conceptualization or conceptualizing. And you can say, as we know, as Charles Peirce says, this or that. And it is completely legitimate approach if you do this. And here is the essence of what conceptualizing is. Yesterday I told you that there is a separate method developed, starting to be developed in the scholastic medieval ages by Peter Abelard in 11th, 12th century, called conceptualism. But this is an extreme wing this is an extreme wing of conceptualism. You probably don't need this. So, Tuna, is it so that every time you go out, you come with some new person? If it is so, go out one more time. So, conceptualism is the way of talking about many things in one word's terms or categories. Like everything which I already told you, the philosophy is mainly about the way we abstraction. We make abstraction and we call this abstraction. The main abstraction, the most fundamental abstractions are categories. Every one philosopher, from Plato, Aristotle, Porphyry, through the medieval scholastics and today, should outline, show to the audience that he has a system of categories. What he believes the most fundamental things in his philosophies are the categories. Now we have conceptions which in a way are even broader than categories. But this is Peirce. His conceptions are not like this. His conceptions are, well, everything in Peirce is mathematized. He is relying on mathematics. He was a mathematician. This was important. That's why I told you about his family. His father was a mathematician. He was a mathematician. He studied chemistry and not philosophy. He himself, Charles Peirce, started to call himself a philosophy only in 1907. 1907, he started to refer to himself as a philosopher. Before that, he called himself like scientist, astronomer, chemic, but not philosopher. Philosophy as a profession was not very popular until relatively soon, relatively recently. In Germany, of course, Kant has called himself philosopher. Hegel may be philosopher, but philosophy is something which is relatively new. Again, Peirce started to call himself a philosopher, but he is a mathematician. So his conceptions are based on mathematics. And you remember this systematic classification of the sciences where mathematics was on the first place. Today we are going to summarize. Oh, here is the medieval conceptualism. I already mentioned Peter Abelard, John Duns Scotus, of course. John Duns Scotus, for example, just one small remark, was unsatisfied by this broad talking of the scholars at his time. He was unsatisfied with this. He said, in every talk, in every speech, you have to take into account two things. Hinc et nunc in Latin, that if you want to say that this table is a table, you have to define what is its hinc et nun. What this table is, if you want to say about this table something, what is the table now, and what is most characteristic for it now. So for this, for example, the most characteristic is the logo of Balıkesir University. If you, but this is very simplistic saying. If you want to talk about whatever, you have to be aware of what it is, its thisness. From thisness, what defines the object, the thing in his thisness, what it is now and what it is more characteristic. That's Duns Scotus, and he is known about this insistence. In Latin, thisness is hecity. So we already talked about this. We said this. Who are conceptualists? This is clear. Yesterday we talked about this. I hope you still remember it. Did you think, or did it occur to you an idea how could you signalize don't dig up here because you will going to be dead? If you have some idea, I'm ready to listen to you. And now here is the generalization of what we talked yesterday. In order to make a conception, we also have to add to the thinking process the way this thinking process represents, because we only understand because we can when we can visualize. The first thing we are doing, we are observing. Our eyes are at work before anything else. Well, Peirce says there is one more thing before that, drawing attention. Something has to draw your attention to something else. That is the first stage, and here is the ground. And then observing. In every sign, there should be a even smaller, but a part which is iconic, visual. Otherwise, the sign will not be understandable. Are you going to bring another person?
I will try.
Okay. So anyway, this representation is very characteristic about the sign. We are not talking on the signs particularly yet. We will do this in the afternoon session. However, in order to represent to you the example which I would like to represent, I need to stress this. Person cannot understand anything unless in the science which the speaker refers, there is not some iconic part. Of course, we have language. Words do not have do not have this necessarily this particular iconic part. However, words are conventional. We decided that the word man will mean Mustafa, Ivan, or something like this. The word chair, there is no iconic here. But when we refer to a sign and we want to describe something to a person who does not know the subject, we use comparisons. We use comparisons, and so in these comparisons, we try to visualize, to make the thing we are talking about visually acceptable, iconic. So here are, of course, you should expect that Peirce's sign system is also triadic, as his categories are. The idea of Peirce's sign is triadic, of course, and I'm going to explain this in the afternoon session. How is it triadic? Here is the Peirce's tenfold sign division. In fact, again, we are talking about this in the afternoon session. Here is the way it works, this science system, and this is completely new science system. Now, here are some definitions of what visual might be. Visual is whatever I said. Yeah, this iconic element. In order to do that, we consider the visual sign to share a common path, to be a vehicle, to convey a meaning, and so on and so forth. And then I give this as a pure iconicity. The same example I already told you. And now here comes something which we are talking about in the afternoon session again. And here I will give you this big, long example in which you can see how conceptualization or conceptualism as a method works, how it works. I need the pointer as well. Have you heard, well, before that, just a short reminder. In order to have conception, we need to have what? What is in the very beginning of any conception? What is conception? Conception is meaning. To have meaning, we need to have what?
Relations.
And, exactly. Relation. And relation, we can visualize a relation as a line. Because here is me who is observing, who is looking, and here is the object I'm looking to. Relation. Between me and relation, we need a contact, and then we have something third, which is interpretant. Interpretant. Because, again, your imagination of something which, even when you see it, is different than mine, than yours, whatever. It is not the same. I would like to have a full screen. Anyway, now you have to know this. In order to have a conception, which is all these three elements, we need to have a relation. This is first. Relation is meaning. Relation is meaning. The smallest part of the meaning is called concept. Concept. Concept is at the bottom of conception. Conception is something you can tell a whole story, and you can call it conception. But concept is the very smallest meaning. It's like in the word with the words. You have a word which is animal, but in the core there is a root of the word animal. It is anima, Greek word meaning soul. A creature which has a soul. That's anima. So concept is the anima of conception. Maybe so. Now, you know about the Titanic crash. Do you? Have you heard about the Titanic crash? Only one person confirmed. Have you heard? Yes, you know, everybody knows. The Titanic crash. The attention, the memory of Titanic crash, which occurred in 1912, never disappeared. It is a phenomenon. Everybody's asking why the Titanic crash is not disappearing up to now from human imagination. Why it comes again and again. There are thousands of novels written, whatever stories, whatever. Do you have a clue why there are so many work, or so many articles, so many novels about Titanic? What is the reason that this crash, which is after all a crash of a ship, and they occurred many thousand similar crashes, but this one is continuing to be the biggest, to attract the attention mostly the attention of the people. What is the reason? By the way, in the World War II, there was another crash of a ship's crash where the dead people were twice more than those in Titanic, but it was completely unnoticed. A crash of a ship, which is so-called ship hospital, which evacuated German soldiers who were wounded from an island to somewhere, and it crashed. It was by a torpedo, by a Russian torpedo, and it crashed. And the number of victims were double higher than the Titanic. Gustav was the name of the ship. Nobody know about it. So why Titanic attracts? Yes?
Maybe it is the first one, such a big accident.
It is not. No, it is not, and it can be because, well, we know about so many wars. Yeah, they were wooden ships, but huge, many. When there are sea war, they sink so many ships, lots of victims. Not the number of the victims is significant, yes, but this is not on the at the core of why the attraction is always and permanent and permanent. That's always. Other suggestions? If you have, why this crash?
The first reason that we need to say, or
What do you think? Why is it so important for the humankind? For the humanities, for all the people. So it attracts such a big attention, such fresh attention of every generation. Every generation turns back, and makes some novels or movies about the Titanic crash. You know that there was a movie with Leo DiCaprio and Celine Dion. Yes, Celine Dion, called Titanic.
I will not be knowing about Titanic if I don't use internet.
If you don't use
internet.
It's
important to me. Evet. It's important to me because I use internet. It's not, I think it's not about just Titanic. I know Titanic because I use internet.
Because you use
Internet.
and that's the reason.
He says I couldn't know if I
Sure, but that's not
It's famous story, so I learned it. He says
the whole world in 1912 learned about the Titanic crash on the next day, and there was absolute no internet in 1912. Through no faxes, telegrams, newspapers, everywhere in the world everyone was talking about Titanic. And there was no internet, no emails, nothing like that. But the world learned about the Titanic. Think what it is in the book. Okay, I will start to tell you about the story, and I will, of course, tell you why am I telling this story at the end, and what is the connection with conceptualization. In fact, even during me telling the story, I am building a conception. Conception, we can have a conception of something very small, like, do you have a conception what a chair is, what a table is? Every one of you have a conception what it is, because every one of you knows what is a chair, what is a table. In order to know, you have a conception. And you think that this is naturally. No, when you were newborn, you were not born with the knowledge of what chair is or of what table is. You were not born with this. That's why there are very simple conceptions, but there are also... what happened? The Titanic sank. A fourth conception might be. You...
Idea. I have an idea.
Okay, share it with us.
Maybe the story, it affected us because we love to think about especially this story.
Mm-hmm.
That's why
Because we like to what?
we like to listen this story. But it's not all about the story. It's just this.
So why just this? Why?
When we look at this story, there are something special for us, I think.
Yes. What does it make special for us?
Firstly, it needs to be like saying something about love.
Okay.
The other thing, it's like a journey.
Did you see the movie Titanic with Leo DiCaprio? That's why you say love. Okay.
And the art, maybe. We see Leonardo DiCaprio were painting something. In general, like the journey.
What is attractive in a journey? There are journeys of many ships like this, and they are journeys. So why this particular journey is so attractive? You have to have a conception about this. Do you have a conception or an idea why it is so attractive? In the United States, every year, there is a movie marathon. Like 2 days and nights, there is a continuum on and on on the television. They are projecting movie about the Titanic crash. Yes.
Maybe it is just about commercial and
No, it's not. It's not commercial.
capitalism, make it famous and to use it.
As what?
And we believe it.
It's saying don't travel, don't make journey because you may die.
No, just iconic thing as a part of the culture and producing some things about it, books, movies, and other things.
Why we are eating fast food
Why?
so much?
Because of the
Why there are tons of marketplace?
because there are what kind of places?
Yeah,
What?
we
We
we didn't want them. They arrived here somehow. Someone wanted
who are they?
the people,
And
but not all of the people. Some people. So why we are using the phone every day? Why we are using Instagram?
mm,
We didn't want it. Someone created it.
I don't see the connection. Someone created because we need to communicate.
But we can communicate by using other apps.
But if you, if we didn't have internet, as Tuna said, there is a guy called Tuna, we wouldn't know about Titanic crash, for example. Now think. It is not very far away. There is not one answer. There are many answers. There are many possible answers.
We need
And in order to give the best one, you will approach the best answers is by making further conceptions. You are conceptualizing. You are conceptualizing the answer to the question why. Why it attracts so much attention. I can assure you that every new generation is interested, at least peripherically, to know something whatsoever about the Titanic. And every possible reason of thinking of Titanic, every possible reason has been investigated and it is now known. Absolutely everything is known. So there is not a secret in it. There is not, usually the secrets attract attention. People want to guess. What is this? What is behind? No secret anymore. Everything is known. It is known how the guards. I mean, there are people who have to watch with binoculars in front of them. However, in this particular day in April, they forgot to take the binocle. So they rely on their eye only on their eye. And there was fog. And it was night. And they only saw the iceberg at the last moment. They immediately say to the captain, iceberg, but it's already almost done. They couldn't make the turn. It is impossible. So they collided to the iceberg. You wanted to say something?
No.
Ah, okay, sorry. So everything like this is known. It is known what was the steel Titanic was made of. The boats, everything, every single thing, no secret. And still it is something in a mystery, somehow more than a mystery that attracts so much attention. See, at the moment, I am attacking you to think and to make conceptions. Do you see how difficult it is? It is difficult because we are thinking. Thinking is difficult. I'm trying to tell you all the time. It looks like we don't need this. We can live calmly, quietly, without knowing anything whatsoever about Titanic. Who cares about Titanic? Who cares about nuclear waste to be digged up properly? Who cares about... And finally, who cares about, well, there are fires around, we don't need to know. And the fire will finally burn us out. So we need to think. We need. It is... it gives us the flexibility of our mind to find solutions to the problems, solutions, not to repeat this. But this is not part of the answer. So again, if anybody of you have more suggestions, I'm ready to hear them. Anyway, because he's going to make a photo of me, I have to pretend that I'm thinking. Yes.
We don't. I think we don't just solve the problems. I mean, we also creating problems.
Sure.
So whenever we enter internet site, we see now cookies, and we didn't want to see cookies. I mean, someone created a cookie like a table. Like
I know what it is, yes.
And they wanted the attraction, our attractions.
That's true, okay. So, what's the connection with the Titanic? The cookies and the Titanic?
The question is that we are asking why. It's not just about solving the problem. It's like a choice. I mean, like a red and the yellow. We are choosing red because of what? Yellow is yellow a problem? We need red.
We choose red, the Western civilization, on the ample to signalize danger because it's the most intensive color. Never mind whether you know it's most intensive or not. The first color you notice is yellow. Then red, and then red for, okay, this is kind of a transition. And then green, because green is the most calm. It's calm because it's a color of the trees, of the wood, and so on. There are very, very few things in the nature which are red, and all of them are signalizing danger. Like, okay, never mind. So you don't have any suggestion. I'm continuing my story. It is a true story. When I was in the United States, I have found this Titanic marathon. 2 days and 2 nights continuously. There were movies made on the Titanic, about the crash of the Titanic. Movies, any kind of movies. I was very interested in this because I will tell you after that because, but it was interesting to me to watch some of those movies. Of course, not all of them, but one of these movies struck me as a purely semiotically done movie. Semiotically meaning it relied on the play of the science. Not just telling the story, not just a dialogue between, Titanic has sunk? No, I don't know. You know how it is sunk? This is dialogic. No, this particular movie has been based on science, and those science were visual, iconic science. What struck me most was the following. Of course, they showed how all the passengers went into the on board of Titanic. They were dressed nicely as they are dressing in 1912. Good dresses, because the Titanic has been advertised as the technical wonder of the 20th century. Very big technical wonder. And very luxury. Like exactly in the movie Titanic with Leo DiCaprio, they produced the salon, the restaurant, exactly as it was in the Titanic who sank. First, because the diagrams they have found, of course, the diagrams were there, so they were able to replicate everything one to one. It was Titanic restaurant. So in one of these frames, suddenly appeared on the whole screen, not the Titanic restaurant, not the cabin, nothing like that, but one very elegant lady's hand from here to here in a glove, those long gloves. Could you please translate this, because I want that. So no, the whole screen has been taken by this.
O filmde bir anda diyor sadece bir işte lady, bir kadının eldiven geçirmiş olan kolu görünüyor dedi.
Dirseği kadar çekince uzun eldiven.
Right. I mean, suddenly, quite unexpectedly, not the restaurant, not the Titanic as a ship, but this hand with a glass of champagne. And some other, maybe the steward, most probably the steward, but we don't see him, has put a cube of ice in the champagne. And the lady made this, shaked the champagne with the cube of ice. Does this say to you something? Titanic, iceberg, the crash with the iceberg. We know what will happen, the crash with the iceberg. So, champagne with a cube, ice cube in the glass with champagne. And she shook it slightly. Then the movie goes on and on and on. Almost in the middle of the movie, suddenly the same lady's hand with a glass of champagne, and the steward who puts 3 cups of champagne, and she shake it like that. Danger. Danger approaches. That is the signal. And then, through the end, just before the clash with the iceberg, the same frame appeared. Now the glass was full with ice, and she shook it like this, nervously. And we know something terribly will happen. But this was purely semiotically told story. Of course, we know what happened. We could tell in words, but this was amazing. It has been taught by just shaking a glass of champagne with ice cube in it. Did you understand me? Could you please translate this?
İlk önce tek küpün olduğu, işte şampanyanın olduğu bir kadehte bir el görüyorsun, ne kadar eldiven çekiyor ve hafifçe kadehi sallıyor. Burada henüz bir tehlike yok. Ancak tehlike arttıkça önce kadehte ya başka bir kadın işte 3 buzlu bir şampanya alıyor ve biraz daha sert sallıyor. Biz orada tehlikenin biraz daha yükseldiğini, arttığını anlıyoruz. Son sahnede ise kadeh buzla dolu ve şampanyayı agresif ve gergin bir şekilde sallıyor. Biz artık kazanın gelmekte olduğunu hissediyoruz. Bu semiotik olarak çok belirgin bir hal alıyor.
Thank you very much. In other words, not somebody, not some actor was telling us what happened. No, this will be a weak movie. This one was a semiotically made movie, a movie which Ivan can use as an example of what conceptualizing means. The whole catastrophe, the Titanic catastrophe, has been conceptualizing in this gesture. You understand me? Has been conceptualized. The concepts is the lady's hand, the champagne, and especially the ice cubes and shaking. It is also pragmatic here because it's movement. It shakes, it moves, it shows by movement, by dynamics. It is not just a dead sign saying something. It is something which moves. It's dynamic sign. Please also say this. Yes.
Bu sallama, yani kadehi sallama olayı pragmatizmle de oldukça uyumlu bir hareket. Çünkü pragmatizm hareketleri incelediğine göre buradaki inceleme alanı da jestlere yönelik olmalıydı. Yani vücut hareketlerine yönelik olmalıydı. Film genel olarak çok başarı göstermemiş olsa da semiotik anlamda dolu dolu bir yapı içeriyor.
Thank you. Do you understand now what conceptualizing is? I mean, what I'm trying to say. Of course, you understand everything. That we used science. We only used science to tell a whole story. That doesn't matter. Of course, in the movie, we can see the clash, the huge iceberg, the way the board of Titanic, the body of Titanic has been cut like in conserve box, like a box of conserve with tuna fish. It's been cut by the ice, by the iceberg, and we see the people jumping in the ocean, and it was cold, and they died. But what matters, especially what mattered to me, I was there in Bloomington, Indiana, when I saw this movie to study semiotics, and this was so much semiotic in it. As I order it, please show to me a semiotic movie. It was absolutely amazing. So now I use this example in my book, which is called Conceptualizing Metaphors. And I said that Titanic crash as a whole is a metaphor. Why? Because it was a piece of our civilization. Titanic was a piece of our civilization. At that time, 1912, this was the most advanced ship ever built, and it was labeled unsinkable. Nobody could thought.
Engineering wonder.
Yeah. Please translate this part. Titanic is a symbol, or in my book, it is called metaphor. Metaphor of our civilization. Titanic has been said to be unsinkable. Yes.
Titanic örneği, metaforu hocanın kitabında kullanılmış. Titanic batmazdı ve neydi hocam?
Don't follow my words. Just say it with you. Say it with your words.
Gelişmiş değil.
Evet,
Say it with your words, not with mine.
aynen.
Okay, thank you. Thank you again. I'm sorry I'm using you, but that is important. So I'm conceptualizing, I'm conceptualizing a giant metaphor, a metaphor of Titanic's catastrophe. To conceptualize a metaphor is kind of contradicts you in adjecto, something which is the metaphor. Usually the metaphors are invented by poets and express their poetic feeling, poetic emotion. One can hardly think of a metaphor as a conception. Conception is thinking, and we are not thinking our emotions. However,
like giving meaning to something.
Yes, yes, but exactly. But metaphor usually are very nice, and poets use them not to be read, not to be understood, decoded by the reader. Like let's say the poets from the Romanticism, they used swan. You know what swan is? You know, please translate.
Cool.
Yes, exactly. But a swan's neck is like the elegance of the woman's neck. However, in a poem, you can say, "Oh, it's like a swan. You're like a swan," and everyone from the Romanticism epoch knows that he is describing the soul, because it's so elegant that this is a soul. And what is the classical definition of metaphor? The classical definition of metaphor. Can you tell me any kind of definition? Every one of you, because you're a literary studies in architecture, you can say what metaphor is. Never mind to think of definition, just in your own words. I'm also not going to say a definition.
Tell about something by another thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Other yes, another. However, Erdem, something very important here. Saying of something, let's say an object, we compare it by to something else. An object compared to something else. Is that you said?
Another else.
Okay, exactly. Something by something else. Like your eyes are pieces of the sky. So the most important thing that we have, not a comparison, a simple comparison, but a metaphor, should be we compare something to something else, and where as if is missing. Without as if, directly. Swan. And everybody in Romanticism knows soul. But that it is not said. Swan is like a soul. That is metaphor, where as if is missing. Any questions up to here? Any suggestions why Titanic? Any suggestions now? Why Titanic crash is attracting our attention permanently? We are 2026, and movies about Titanic are producing almost every 10 years. Believe me, even more often. And books about Titanic are producing up to now. Why? I almost gave the many answers, but yeah,
You gave the answer.
I gave some part of the answers, but you can say many more things. Every one of us knows this. This is not something like I'm making an exam. I'm asking you just to participate, to participate in my suggestions.
It's a perfect metaphor of humanity.
Yes, okay. But what of humanity? Of humanity as invincible, like nobody can win
Yeah.
humanity.
If you are rich, also.
Especially against nature.
Okay. Also, also, yeah, because to declare that a ship which is made by hands of a human will never sink, that is against nature, because sea is nature, and nature is never been overcome by a human. That is true. That is one possible answer. Yes, thank you. More. Why is this constantly sinking in the sea? It was not like that yesterday and the day before and the day before. Something happened. See, the fate knows. The fate knows that I'm talking about the Titanic, and it helps me. Besides, we maybe turn off the first row of the lights.
Ekstra ışığı kapatabiliyor muyum?
Tamam.
Please read the lines at the bottom. When I wrote the book, my book, some years ago, I didn't know that it will, wonderful, that this will happen so fast, so soon. So I said, sooner or later, Titanic will be pulled out of the water and restored. And a historic trip, his trip, which has never been finished, will be repeated as well. And the company, White Star Company, it doesn't exist anymore, but any company will declare, okay, we want to repeat this trip historically. Meaning what? The ship is here, let's say in 2026. The ship is again here, the Titanic ship. And the company says, we are selling tickets now. Please come on board. And they're selling very expensive tickets, by the way. I can imagine. By the way, before continuing, I will tell you that they really made a replica of Titanic. They did already. They did not pull the resting of remainings from the real Titanic, although it is known where it is. But they did not pull out the entire Titanic. They said, I mean, they tried, but it is cut into two. The corpse is cut into two, and it is something like 300 meters deep, and it will be very, very expensive to pull out this ship. So the company made advertisements. We sell now tickets for a historic trip of Titanic, and we want that the trip will be finished. And I'm saying this in the next slide, and this is also in my book. I will show you my book tomorrow. You may read it, and I will tell you about it. The trip begins. I mean, all the people are dressed historically. The women with long shirts, the men properly. Everybody goes. It's a luxury trip. The Titanic is very luxury. And in the evening, like in the real Titanic, the captain comes to greet, to congratulate to all the passengers, say, you made it, thank you very much for coming here, now we will travel. By the way, the passengers do not know that there are hidden cameras in the restaurants. Just suggestion. So think there are cameras who can catch face expressions, all people's expressions. Here I'm playing with firstness, secondness, and thirdness. But anyway, so the trip starts. They reach the place where originally Titanic in 1912 clashed with the iceberg, and suddenly they felt a push. Something happened. Again, what would the passengers think? Suggestions. What would they think? So this happens in 2026 or 2028. And they reach the place of Titanic crash and sinking, and they felt this push. What would they think?
Fair.
Huh?
Fair.
Fair? Fear.
Fear.
Do you think so? The company declared that they will repeat the trip.
Ah.
They will repeat it.
Which
They
part
will
of the trip?
replicate it. Any suggestion?
Maybe. Maybe. Again.
Maybe again. In my view, they will think, oh, a real replica, meaning they replicate everything, including this push. Ah, very nice.
Fear is replicated also.
Huh?
Fear is replicated also.
Ah,
It's
I don't
one
think.
experience.
If you're not scared, why should I be scared in a ship which is produced in 2026? I should say that is impossible to happen today. Shall I? What do you think? Shall I say things like that to myself? In 2026, this is impossible to happen.
They were saying also this is because that.
Even if something happened, there will be ships around, there will be helicopters to help to the passengers. So it won't, in my opinion, it won't be fear, scare. They won't be scared. It won't be fear. They will be, I go even further. I think it will be delightful because they say it's a good imitation, very good imitation. They emulate everything. Now, the cameras, there are many cameras around, are watching the faces. Not too much emotion. They're pleased faces. Now imagine, how about if the floor of the ship starts to go like this, more steep, more steep, more. What will happen to the faces of these people if they cannot stay anymore on the floor because the floor is going steep like this? What will happen? What will they say? Don't look at me. Think. Imagine you're on the board. You're on the board. How would you react? At the beginning, the first reaction, there is no doubt, will be, oh, thank you very much. You're imitating the catastrophe. But if the floor goes like that,
I may be shocked.
you may be shocked.
It's happening now.
And suddenly, like in the movie, some water starts to be on the floor. Some water. Water can be imitated as well. See, this is the experiment where you can see to what level the emotion and the human reaction can reach before they panic, before they get panic. But when panic comes, everything disappears. It's a chaos. No one can react. So this is in my, you can read it. This is in my book. No, we're still here. I did not continue the experiment. Everyone is free to make suggestions. However, again, the Titanic in this case is a giant metaphor, a metaphor of our civilization, then in 1912. Now it will be something like a theater or like a cinema in the cinema, a cinema in some movie as in the cinema, and people, most of the people, I think, to the end, if this was real in 2026, will still not decide that it is real. They will think that this is an experiment just to make us, to provoke our emotions. I think so. However, in 1912, Titanic has been declared unsinkable, the last achievement of human civilization, a technical wonder. It will never be able to, it will never sink because it has 9 parts in the board. And if one goes with water, the other still will keep the ship. What happened? The single mistake, engineering mistake, those walls which divided the body of the Titanic into 9 were not finished till the end. So the water which first flooded the first compartment went over and flooded the second, and then the next. And what happened at a certain moment? Titanic broke into 2 pieces because one part was so heavy that it just broke, like something like that, and it went down to the sea. So, but they didn't know that. We learn from our mistakes. That's also in the core of pragmatism. We learn by the mistakes. That's why I love your mistakes. You only have to dare to say, okay, I do think something and I say, but it is probably not only this. Maybe this is weak, or maybe this is a mistake. On the mistakes, we build our knowledge. We know because we act, and when we act, we learn. Like by Titanic, unfortunately. Nearly 1,500 people died, were victims in this catastrophe. Enormous, very, very many people. Again, not the number of the victims attracts this attention of the human being from then up to now, not the number of the victims. The dying of the myth of the invincibility of human civilization. Did you understand the last phrase, what I said? Then please translate it.
I was thinking another thing. Sorry, I can't translate.
Okay.
correctly.
No. What I said was that, well, I forget what I said either. I'm thinking fast. Next sentence. The unsinkability of Titanic was a myth. And one of the biggest, you know what myth is?
Yes, you know.
Okay. Okay. One of the biggest contemporary myths in 1912 broke. And because we are living with myths all the time, that is what attracts the attention of the humans. This is my opinion. It is not the final one. People are, there are many hundreds of books, articles, whatever, about what is the phenomenon of Titanic crash, why it is so popular, why it attracts human attention more than 100 years from then. And in my opinion, it is this. And how is my opinion came to life? I conceptualized everything. I'm not going to tell you about firstness, secondness, and thirdness because I think we already know it. But in my opinion, this is as a result of conceptualizing this, we have this attention of the human mind.
Well, we have 5 minutes.
I don't need 5 minutes. Everybody who has some opinion on what it was, is free to share the opinion or saying whatever else, not only about this. So what we did today, we finished the topic of conceptualization by saying that the concept is the smallest unit of conception. Concept, like the smallest unit of the word is a letter, which is meaningful. The concept is the smallest meaningful unit of the conceptions. So we said what it is: a relation which already means something, and we said that in order to mean something, it should be meaningful to something or to somebody. Even in nature, in the protoplasm, in the atoms, in the molecules, they cause clash to each other and they react. Reaction is interpretation in the nature, by us, interpretant. And I said that conception is to building concepts, and the concepts are built in order that we understand something. Conception and understanding are very close, although not synonyms. They are not synonyms. Understanding is like decoding, like we know something and we are decoding it. And we saw how we conceptualized a metaphor, the metaphor of Titanic. The Titanic as a living metaphor, as a moving metaphor. It sank. So Titanic as a myth. The concept of Titanic is this. I mean, we started from the least, from the smallest, and we went to the biggest unit to conceptualize in order to learn how to conceptualize. Knowing this, knowing what is meaningful, and knowing that we have not to miss the next chain, we can make the closest conclusion, and that's the part of the pragmatism and semiotics. We will continue with semiotics. If you have any sayings, I don't think that Mustafa will say no. So, whoever wants to say something, I'm here. If not, thank you. Yeah, so you have to say something. But it's over now. It is closed. The shop is closed.
Conceptualizing metafor metot konulu seminerimizde bugün bitti. MLADENOV'a çok teşekkür ediyoruz. MLADENOV bu seminerde interpretation, conception, relation kavramlar hakkında bilgi verdi. Hatta not aldım. Thinking is a difficult, very important sentence in this house. Relation is a interpretation.
Absolutely.
Very,
Yes.
difficult idea. Thank you so much for
Thank you.
participating today.
We start with semiotics in the afternoon.
Yes, we start in the afternoon. We start with the semiotics to come to rector with rector
If he comes.
if he comes. Thank you so much.
İngilizceyi çok güzel İngilizce çeviriyorsunuz.
Evet, öyle yapıyorum yani. Ne yapayım? Bugünkü seminerimizde burada bir ben size hitaben konuşmuyorum.
Evet.
Online dinleyenlere hitaben konuşuyorum.